Station. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Absolute Book Club, guys. Episode 3, Absolute Superman 1 through 3. Man, this is the show where we go over the books of the Absolute Universe. You know, the new line of books from DC Comics. Of course, I'm always joined by a bunch of panelists, man. And let's not waste any time. Let's bring these guys out right now, man. First up, I got my guy, Scotty Vaughn, in the building. Station.
Yeah, Station. What's up, Fable? Glad
What's
to be here,
going on,
man.
brother?
I'm ready to talk Superman. I'm ready.
You ready? I saw that cover, man. I
I'm
saw
ready,
that
man.
cover.
Got my nice logo cover, looking nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Seriously, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk Absolute Superman.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We finally getting to it, man. Finally.
Book club.
All right, man. Without further ado, let me bring out my other homie, man, Stu, Dr. Doom's fan
Hey,
club.
Station. Fable,
Yeah,
such a fire
dude.
intro, bro. Thank you for that. I love that. That was
It was
beautiful,
good.
man.
I'll send it
Yeah.
to you guys. I'll send it to
I
you
love
guys. If you
that.
want
I
to
love
use
that.
it.
We got to
I
keep
need that.
building on that. We got to keep adding
Yeah, I'll
slides.
put more
Yeah,
covers.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But yeah, so
How are
happy
you,
to be
my
here
brother?
with you. I'm great, man. I'm great. Happy to be here with y'all, talking some absolute soups. Yeah, like you said, we're finally getting to it. The redheaded stepchild, as I called it earlier, of the absolute universe. I feel like everybody's kind of like been low on this book, but I think it's had some really bright moments. So I'm excited to get into it with the group, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually met some people that say this is their jam right here. This is the one for them.
Absolute. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Can't wait to get into it. But let's bring out our other panelists, man. Next up, we got our brother Sergio in the building. Station.
Hey, Station. What's up, everyone? What's up, chat? Happy to be here. Thank you again. And again, I'm going to have to co-sign what Stu said. That intro was fire. Super dope. Really cool.
I think I spent more time making that than reading the damn comics.
That's how it is.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm glad you're here, my brother. Thanks for joining us, man. It's always awesome to have you on the show. I hope you had a good week this week.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was a good one. And I'm excited to talk about this Absolute Superman series.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring out our next panelist, man. My brother, Matt from Bumpkins TV.
What's up?
What up, Matt?
Yeah.
How you guys doing? And I am one of the ones who this is my favorite of the three absolute books.
Yeah,
All right,
one of
let's
those,
go. Let's
Yeah.
go. I'm glad to hear
let's
it.
go. How was your week, Matt? How you doing, man?
So far so good. You know, we're only almost halfway there, so we'll see how the rest goes. Tomorrow's new comic book day, so that should be good.
Yeah,
Yes.
hell yeah.
Best
Hell
day of the
yeah.
week.
Well, glad to have you, brother, as always,
Yeah,
man.
thank
Your
you.
insight is much appreciated. I know you're one of the biggest DC fans out of the bunch here, so it's always good to have your insight on the
Yeah.
absolute books, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Let's bring out our last panelist, man. My brother, Tacky 616.
Station.
Ah,
What is
yeah.
happening,
What up?
everybody?
What's up?
What's
Good to
up?
see you.
Finally
bro.
going to talk about the best book. Huh? 3 months?
I think so.
Yeah, hell yeah, Tack. You cold over there, bro? I see a
Oh,
cover.
man, it's cold as hell over It's cold in Wisconsin. It's like negative something.
Oh,
I'm sure.
snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and
man.
when I was running up here, I forgot to bring my hoodie. So, yeah, I'm putting the blanket on, man. Sorry.
At least you're comfortable, man. At least you're comfortable.
Yeah, man.
How was your week this week, my brother? How you been?
Uh, how many days has it been? This Tuesday. That should tell you right there. I'm still messed up
Yeah.
from the New Year's and the Christmas week where we were off in the middle of the week. And that I work with cases. We need the whole week basically just to have enough time to get them resolved. So that just threw everything off, and I'm still kind of suffering
Right.
from that. And then next week will be a short week again. So, but it's not. At least I get a 3-day weekend out of it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Silver lining in every cloud, my brother.
Yeah,
That's what I like. Thanks for joining us as always, Tack, man.
Thanks for having
Like I
me.
say, you're the sharpest tool in the shed. This guy, I love
I don't
this
know
guy
about
so
that,
much.
man. I think I'm just not afraid to say stuff that people think. So
That's why I love you, man. That's why I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
you. That's why I love having you here. Oh man, of course, we will be going over tonight. We said it before. Absolute Superman 1 through 3. Man, we've already covered Absolute Batman over on S Vaughn's channel, so go check that out if you guys haven't checked that out.
It's
We
fun.
covered Absolute Wonder Woman over on Stu's channel. Man, that was a great discussion, so
That was
definitely
good.
check that out. And now we're up to Absolute Superman. And people in our chat in the last couple of lives, they were asking about Absolute Superman. Like, when are you guys getting to Absolute Superman? So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
finally it, bro. We're here. But before we get into the book, guys, I just wanted to get your overall familiarity with the character of Superman. You know what I mean? How did you come across this iconic, 80 years now he's been around, 80-year character, or maybe more? I don't know. My math is always off. But yeah, just wanted to go around the horn, get your familiarity with Superman, and also I wanted to know your familiarity with this creative team, man. We got a powerhouse creative team of Jason Aaron, Rafa Sandoval, and Ulysses Areola as the colorist. So yeah, I'll jump this off with Scotty Vaughn. Scotty, what's your familiarity with Superman and maybe this creative team?
My familiarity with Superman, I'm not sure. Honestly, I can't remember my introduction to Superman, but it was definitely as a young child, as probably most of us were. But I used to really love collecting comic cards, so I was probably introduced to Superman.
Hell yeah.
I don't know, man. I was probably introduced to Superman through media somehow, I would say. But I was a comic book collector, and I loved comic cards as a kid. And I do remember trying to find the Superman comic cards, and yeah. So I'm not quite sure my introduction as far as the creative team. Jason Aaron, fantastic. I was glad to hear when I heard that he was on the series. So I have a lot of faith in him, and we'll see where it goes. I'm excited. Issue 1 didn't really have me hooked, but I feel like it got dramatically better in issue 2 and 3, and I'm really liking the series so far.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned media, because I think a vast majority of us probably got introduced to this character that way. But Stu, what's your history of Superman and this creative team, my brother?
So it starts with like Christopher Reeve, kind of. I think growing up, like that's my kind of like my first introduction to the character. Then with comic books, man, I was such a Marvel X-Men kid in the 90s. Really, the only one that hit me was Death of Superman, when they were really trying to, throw it all out there. I did have that one. I collected that one, and I still have it. But a lot of my familiarity comic book wise came after the fact, and I had to go back and discover, like, so many of the iconic runs. Personal favorites, All-Star Superman from Grant Morrison is definitely up there. There's a one-shot Alan Moore did with him and Swamp Thing that I really love. It's just one of my favorite comic books ever. I like the Thomasy run, and I think there's elements of that in this Absolute run. But like I'm still not all the way schooled in the last Son of Krypton like I would like to be. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a knowledge base that's kind of growing more and more as I get older. But he's got so many great stories, and I feel like he is slept on, and a character that I feel like I want to explore more. So excited to talk about him tonight. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh, and Aaron, real quick before I pass the torch, the creative team, Jason Aaron, love him. Scalped is one of my all-time favorite comics. I know he's been kind of all over the place, hit and miss lately for a lot of people, and I feel that he's kind of been the same way with me. But such a strong writer, man. He's got such a great history at Marvel, so many great books: Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Punisher, Wolverine, X-Men. Like he's done incredible work. Also with Vertigo. So accomplished writer. And Sandoval, I'm not as familiar with as I would like to be. So kind of new to him coming into this comic book, but that's where I'm at with the character and the creative team.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah, Sergio, what's your history with our boy Soups and this creative team?
I'm a huge fan of Superman. He's not my favorite superhero, but come on, first ever real superhero, right? In the funny books or comic books. And yeah, I've been a fan of him since I was young, like a lot of other people through media, but I've also been reading and collecting comics since I was young. So I've definitely read a lot of Supes, and not just his stories, but of course him in Justice League and featured in a lot of other books. And yeah, I'm enjoying this series so far. It is my third favorite of the three absolutes, but I do like it. And Jason Aaron, like Stu said, hit or miss for me, but I do like a lot of his stuff. Sandoval, I'm loving his art on this new book. I think out of the three books, his art might be my favorite, actually.
Wow, wow, that's good, man. That's good to hear, man.
Oh yeah,
I'm digging it
he's
as
done a hell of
well.
a job so far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Matt, man, what's your history with this character, this creative team?
Yeah, I mean, Superman. I watched him on the Super Friends, in the early '80s and Challenge of the Super Friends and all that stuff. My very first comic was DC Comics Presents number 76 from 1984, and that was a Superman and Wonder Woman kind of team up book. And all through the '80s, the Superman had a solo cartoon, one season of that. I used to watch that on Saturday mornings, and then of course the Christopher Reeve movies and Death of Superman, and then just on beyond that, so he's always been around in front of my eyeballs. And then the creative team, Jason Aaron. I first kind of heard his name was scalped back in the early 2000s, and then just kind of kept reading his stuff through the years. And then Rafa Sandoval, I hadn't really heard of until Green Lantern Rebirth, the 2016 Rebirth, when DC did all the Rebirth stuff, and he had a really cool little stint on Green Lantern, and I was like, wow, this guy's really cool. And then every time I saw his name on something, I would get really excited. So when I heard that that was the team on this book, I was like, yes, this is going to be really cool. And like I said, this is my favorite of the three. So I like all three of them, but this is my favorite. So
Let's go, let's go. Tack, man, what's your history with the Superman and the creative team, my brother?
So, I mean, what's already been said, I could just echo that. Super Friends, Christopher Reeve. But the one thing for me that hasn't been said is that when I first got into collecting as a youth, that was when they just rebooted Superman with John Byrne. So it wasn't even super. I remember when Superman #1 came out, and that was like a big deal because I was collecting the Man of Steel when I first started, like baby, just started going to the comic book store, and they were probably like on issue 2 or 3 of the Man of Steel. So that was a 4-issue series before Superman #1. The first time there was the unfortunate variant covers that have plagued our industry since.
Very
Joking.
true. I thought about that as soon as you brought that series up.
So
Yeah,
true.
I didn't mean to go political there. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, as far as Jason Aaron, I think he's a great pick because he's a world builder. And if you've seen what he did with Thor, even though I haven't read a lot of that of his Thor run, but I'm really hoping that DC gives him and I think they are going to give him the length and the time to do something like that. And you can see it already. We're getting I didn't get a chance to read any outside of the Byrne run. I haven't read a lot, and Tomasi, of course. Tomasi and Gleason's run is part of the reason I came back to collecting comics.
So good.
And unfortunately, DC kind of lost its way there.
They did.
But I think they're getting back on track. And I didn't get the chance to read the Krypton stuff that's been out there. I know there's been a couple series on Krypton, but as you can see with Jason Aaron, he's already building up this whole world here. We're starting from his parents. And as far as Sandoval, the artist, what is Superman's mother's name? Because I need to know what her name is from issue #3. When he drew her, man, I was like, well, who is this?
Kara?
Yeah, Loris. So, yeah.
Looking like Laura Kenny.
Yeah. What's your name? Laura Kent.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, my history with the characters, much like a lot of people from the 80s, man. As a matter of fact, Superman may be the first character, the first superhero that I've ever encountered in my life, or that I could remember encountering. I have fond memories of watching those Superman movies with Christopher Reeve, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Part 1 came out before I was born, but it was heavily played syndication over
on
and
the
over
reruns.
again. Yeah, and I always, as a kid, if you would have asked me what superpower I want Superman's superpowers, man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I wanted the super strength. I wanted to run quick. I wanted to shoot lasers out my eyes.
Definitely
He was
that.
the coolest damn thing I've ever seen. And I didn't know what comics were at that time. I never even knew comic books existed. You know, I was just a little kid. But then, you know, as time went on, I discovered the X-Men, and I discovered comic books, and that was it, man. I just became a Marvel head ever since I discovered the X-Men. But then a rumor came down the line that they were gonna kill Superman, and I said, "Holy shit! I gotta jump on this train before his ass dies." And man, that was one of the biggest events in comic books that I could ever remember, man, was the death of Superman. That shit was on the news. Everybody was scrambling to get that issue, thinking they were going to get rich.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm still waiting to retire on my bagged copy of Superman 75.
I know,
It's gonna
right?
happen any day now, right?
Mom stood in line for like hours.
Yep.
I bought all those issues with Doomsday coming out the floor. You know what I'm saying? Beating the crap out of Superman for issue upon issue.
And it's funny because they really only did that because Image Comics had just launched, and Image Comics took their #2 spot on the sales chart. So they're like, "Oh gosh, we got to do something big to get everybody back." So I mean, really, it was just you can thank Image Comics for that whole thing, you know, because.
And he never really died, like not technically, and was back in the comics like pretty soon after that.
Yeah, that was my first like wake up call to marketing, if that makes any sense. Because then the funeral for a friend came out, and there were like 4 Supermans, and I'm like, oh man, this is getting crazy.
Yeah.
The 90s went wild with foils and
stuff.
Oh man.
But it was a good time.
It was on one.
And I love getting back or discovering Superman comics for that matter, because like I said, I knew the character from the movies and cartoons, the Max Fleischer cartoons. We can't forget those cartoons were freaking amazing.
Great call.
But yeah, that's how I got introduced to the character. And then Jason Aaron, you know, I stopped collecting way back in 1994, way back then. So I missed 30 years of comic books, right? I didn't get back into 2019, right before the pandemic. And when I got back in, I had heard of Jason Aaron. I had heard of his Thor run, but unfortunately, he was writing Avengers at the time, which everybody in the community was kind of panning. Everybody was saying, "Oh, this ain't too good," and it kind of made me not want to get Avengers because of it. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't have much experience with Aaron, except for his Conan stuff. He was doing Conan the Barbarian at the time, and I'm a big Conan fan. And his Conan run wasn't that bad. It was pretty decent. Now, of course, he's everywhere, man. He's doing like 17 books.
Yeah.
Which I was a little afraid of, to be honest, when it came to the quality of this book. Because, like, you know, how much attention can you give this book if you're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you're over here doing this and that and this and the other?
Yeah.
But after reading these 3 issues, I can say that I'm on board with Absolute Superman, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Definitely. That's good.
So yeah, man. Before we get into the 3 issues, I just want to say what up to our awesome chat that came to hang out with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Before we get into it. First up, we got our brother Billy Power Max in the house.
Hey, Billy.
Billy, how are you, my brother? Seriously, are you going to let me go 6 years without a wrench? Just like
it's a blood sacrifice, bro.
Hey, man, I'm trying to be like Stu, man. Stu don't give anybody wrenches, not even his friends. We got our bro Omega Slice in the building.
Omega, what up?
How are you? How are you? Thanks for hanging out, man. We got our homie Brian LCS in the house. Evening all station, Brian. How are you?
Brian?
We got our sister from another mister. Tessa is a nerd. Is in the house.
Hey, Tessa.
How are you, Tessa? Omega Slice saying, I've only read Alan Moore's stories. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, including the Swamp Thing story and some world's finest stuff. There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. Stu, I dig the Mobius art behind. What the hell is it with that?
Another fan. What do you mean? It's great art and people appreciate it. Like,
of course.
A to B, man. It's black and white. Thank you.
I've
I'm
been
never
looking at a
taking it
lot of his
down.
stuff.
It's forever going to be in the background. So I hope y'all all love it.
Everybody who
great
sees
cover, man.
Stu's background for the first time, that's the first thing they say is, "I love this Mobius."
Honestly, I'm happy to spread the gospel of Mobius. So
Oh yeah. We got our brother Chris, Lost in Comics, in the building. Station, what is going on, Chris? How are you, man? Thanks for joining us, bro. Everybody saying what up to each other. Not much, just enjoying the night with a nice bourbon by my side. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Omega said Jason Aaron is writing the new Turtle stories and beginning to recreate that world. Enjoying that read. Hell yeah.
I gotta catch up on it.
Glad somebody is.
We got our bro 9-panel grid in the
Hey, what
building.
up?
Eric
Eric.
Station, how are you? And Billy said, not reading Absolute Superman. I hate Jason Aaron. That's all right.
Oh,
Here we go.
Hey, you gotta
We
be
love
honest.
you, Billy. You can stay. I don't know why you're here though.
Let me get my notes out here. I wrote a bunch of notes, guys. A bunch of notes. All right. So let's get into issue 1 of Absolute Superman. All right. So first off, we got a bunch of cool covers here, right? We got some by Rafa Sandoval himself, including the second print, which I think is what we use for the thumbnail, right, Stu?
Oh no, the thumbnail is Mateo Scaleras.
Right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
That's the incentive. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That cover A is so fire. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
such
the
a
one
good
that I went
cover.
with, just
Great.
because I thought this was the coolest one of all of them. I mean, tried to go for a foil or something. But I was like, no, that one just speaks to me. So
That's great.
Hell yeah.
It feels like it reminds me of Gladiator, the fields of wheat.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's so great.
We also got Wes Craig over here on the side here. Wes Craig
Yeah.
doing an amazing job with Kaya.
Okay.
Tack. I know you got this one, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, I should go get it.
You will.
I was gonna say, did Wes Craig do a cover? I guess he did. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did one
There
for all
it is.
3.
We also got Jim Lee. One from Jim Lee, one from Clayton Crane.
yeah.
And yeah.
I grabbed that Jim Lee foil.
Yeah. Beautiful covers here. And we got a Midtown exclusive from Dan Panosian, and then of course the incentive, Mateo Scalera. Now, who's this on the side? Is that John Boy?
Yeah, that's John Boy on
That
the
looks
right.
like John Boy Myers.
Yeah,
man.
that's fire. I love
He
that
kills
one.
anything he touches, man.
He's been killing it lately.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, dude. He's on fire.
Was that like a store exclusive though? Because I couldn't see that.
Absolutely. Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So awesome covers. Anybody got any one of these in particular?
Yeah, like I said, I grabbed that Jim Lee foil, and I also grabbed. They did the updated Superman symbol foil cover, and I grabbed it as well.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really
that's
cool.
Oh yeah.
I like those
Yeah.
symbol covers.
the only thing that kept me away from the
absolutely.
Jim Lee one. It was nice and foil, and I got foil for the other number ones. But the Jim Lee one, I kept me away because that doesn't look like Absolute Superman. That just looks like regular Superman.
That's true.
In
Yeah.
the Absolute, and I was like, that's this that looks more like the character inside the book. So that's why, I
That's
just
a
wanted to
good
go with that
point.
instead of.
Yeah. If I go back, I'm gonna go pick up that Mateo Scalera, but there's a foil version of it, and I think a foil version of that Mateo Scalera would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. I love
Yeah,
the
I
way
grabbed that as well. The
Yeah.
foil.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous cover.
and that Dan Panosian right there on the left is fantastic as well.
Well,
Yeah.
Dan is he
Yeah.
talk about killing it. Dan Panosian, holy smokes, man! 2024.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We
That's what I was
leveled
just
up in
typing.
2024. Absolutely. All right, man. Let's get into it. Issue 1 of Absolute Superman, man. The Last Dust of Krypton. Part 1, Down in the Dirt. All right, so we open up in the past on the planet Krypton in the city of Kandor. We see that the city's, it's super advanced. We're introduced to the Kryptonian class system at this point. Where at the top of the chain are the Science League, who are considered the ruling class of Krypton. We also find out that Superman's parents were not among them, right? So isn't this like the first change right here? From what I understand.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that though. I like how we're starting off with the nitty gritty.
Yeah, and what I really like about the class system that they establish here is it reminds me a lot of the World of New Krypton storyline from around 2010 or so. That I want to say Jeff Johns wrote it, or maybe he wrote part of it, and that was the same kind of thing. That's they, even when Superman went to live on New Krypton, he lived there for like a year and was part of, I think, like the military guild or something. And they had established that Krypton had different guilds, different classes. And yeah, so this took me back to like 20 years ago or 15 years ago or so. I thought that was really
Nice.
cool to revisit that.
That's the thing with I felt like a lot of or just the first 3 issues where there were a lot of fresh and different takes, but so much of it still felt familiar to me.
Yeah,
And as far as the class system, like Matt just said, yeah, it reminded me of that story. So even though it still felt different, it still felt like something that I had read.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then we cut to the Redlands, where we're introduced to Lara Lore Van, and who I assume is
What's her name?
Superman's grandfather, Lara Lore Van.
Oh, okay.
And I think this dude is Kal-El's grandpops.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right.
I'm not 100% sure. They still haven't told us who this guy is, but yeah, we go to the Redlands where we see them, and they seem to be working on some sort of farm, and some sort of harvesting machine that harvests something called crawberries. I don't know if that's in Superman lore crawberries, but they're harvesting crawberries. And then we're told that you can actually pay for rain. So if you pay a rain bill, some clouds will come over.
Yeah.
Some spaceships will come over with
Rain
some
on your
clouds,
crops.
Yeah.
and rain your crops. But we also find out that even though you pay your bill, you may not get your rain on time, especially
Right.
if you're not like super rich, like the Science League. So yeah, we get this nice conversation between who I think is Grandpa and Laura L here talking about it.
Enjoying
about
that
how-
rain that they paid the money for.
Yeah, there's the
Soaking it
rain,
in.
and the bill went up. It's 3,000 crims, y'all. 3,000 crims.
That's a lot. Inflation,
Yeah, everything's going up.
That's the Canadian currency. I can take over.
And at the same time that this conversation is happening, we're told that Lara was once a great student, but at 9 years old, she wrote an essay criticizing Krypton's lack of funding for interstellar exploration, which
do
led
that.
to her being forbidden for applying to the Science Academy, which is interesting. She was only 9 years old, and they said, "No, you can't come here because you wrote some bullshit about us."
Right.
Going against the grain.
Which I thought was pretty foul. And then we get this cool scene where it just starts to rain, and I love this scene right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So I just want to pause right here. What do you guys think of this opening so far? Anything stand out to you? Immediately, anybody could jump in whenever they want.
Well, what's interesting is that, we learn later in the book that, Kal-El wasn't rocketed away from Krypton when he was a baby. Like, he's there right now. We just didn't know it at the time. So
Mhm.
what's interesting is he grew up on Krypton, or not grew up, but spent part of his life on Krypton as part of a farming family, just like he did on Earth. I thought that was really neat.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
He
love
just grew
like
up on a Kryptonian farm.
you come to the one thing I've come to appreciate kind of in hindsight after reading all 3 issues is like all the seeds they're planting here for Kal-El's character, and like being rebellious, and even like the writing thing, like her kind of like getting in trouble for writing, we see that later with him. So it's
Yeah.
very cool to see like how it's very much a family thing with them, and they're very much salt of the earth people, and they wear that with pride. And it's, I don't know, it's got a lot of tones that resonate today with like people trying to fight for what's right, and you know, it's like that constant clash of classism. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
really appreciate that.
and that gets really, I'm jumping way ahead, but that gets really amplified in issue number 3, where the whole thing is him as a kid on Krypton. And, he's like, oh, I got in trouble at school because they didn't like the way I did this. And his parents are like, you did what?
Yeah.
Keep doing it, be yourself, do
Yes.
whatever. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. So, he had a great, parentage on Krypton. And I'm assuming great parentage from the Kents on Earth, although we haven't seen that part yet. So who knows what that was like, but it was instilled in him early.
I really liked that his mom was an engineer, and his dad was in the labs. I feel like in a lot of stories, soup stories in the past, the focus is more on his dad being the scientist and the one who discovers what's wrong and trying to take care of it. But this was very much both of them, and his mom is just so badass, which we see later in the series. And I remember in this first issue really liking the focus on both of them. And then, when you find out that Clark was there, not as a baby.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. All right, moving on. We're given more insight on the Kryptonian class system, right? We're given another class, the Labor Guild, who are the lowest class. This is the lowest on the totem pole. And they're often looked upon in shame by Kryptonian society, right? And we also see that the Labor Guild is represented by the classic Superman S insignia, man. Which, from my memory of Superman, again, I'm not the most educated on Superman lore, but I thought the S stood for the family name. But in here, it stands for an entire class of people. So correct me if I'm wrong.
So I think it stood for his family. I think it's also stood for hope in other iterations.
Well, the Hope thing was a Zack Snyder thing, right? So, and people have like brought that in. Even the comics did. I think,
in the comics they ended up using it as well. But I don't know, Matt. Maybe you know more about some of the history of the symbol.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, originally, it was, or eventually, later on, I don't know if it went how far back it goes, but you're right. For a time, it was the sigil of the House of El. And then, Snyder was like, no, it means hope. And then in this book, it's like, no, it means that it's not even a letter, it's just a symbol for the Labor Guild. And they even talk about, I think it's on that panel somewhere, it's, I don't know if they talked about, not slave, but I can't remember but there was a word in there that I was like, oh, that was kind of their version of, it kind of looks like an S, and it kind of sort of stands for this word, but I don't remember what that word was. Shame. There it is right there. Right. The mark of shame. Yeah.
Yeah. The sign of poor and unskilled. Mm-hmm. But we see the S for the first time. We're told that the class distinctions are so important to Kryptonian society that the citizens are forced to wear their status at all times, which is interesting. We're told that that Superman's parents, though, they wore their symbol with pride, right?
Yeah.
We're told that they were often referred to as the children of the sun, those who made their way with their own hands, and the and the people of steel, which I think is like a callback, right?
And I love this. Like, we go from that explanation of them to like this first shot of his pops, like going down into this, and he looks just like so regal and badass. You know what I mean? And it's this is supposed to be like the lower caste of people. It's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, let's keep going right here. So here we're brought down to a mine, where we're introduced to Jor-El and a team of miners who are part of the Labor Guild. Yep. And right here, an alert goes out, right? This alert stating that the mine may be unstable, right? So Jor-El's job here is to go down there and find out where the fractures may be before any kind of cave-in or anything like that, right? And right in the middle of him trying to figure out where the fractures or the stress may be in the cave, he gets interrupted by this asshole.
He is.
And this asshole, we also get introduced to another class, and I thought this class was hilarious: the League of Middle Management. Like, what the hell? I don't want to be part of the League of Middle Management. I'll tell you right now, if I was a Kryptonian. But yeah, this League of Middle Management guy, he starts yelling at Jarrell, like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, we got to get the workers keep working. And Jarrell's explaining to him what's going on. And he's like, look at my chest. You know what I'm saying? Look at the symbol on my chest. Look at the symbol on your chest. Do what I'm telling you, basically. But Jarrell, being defiant as he is, when we see the traits of Superman, we talked about the mother. Here's where he gets some of that too. The dad, he said, "Nah, screw this. Don't worry about anything. I'll figure it out," kind of thing. And just as that's happening, we witness the cave start to rumble and start to cave in, right?
Yep.
We also see this like eruption of this green fluid, which I'm going to assume is kryptonite.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's some green stuff coming out the floor.
It melts them, like straight melts them away.
Fable, can you bring up the next slide, bro?
I got you.
Thank you, bro.
There it is, the green stuff. Yeah, coming out the floor. I don't know if it's gas. I don't know if it's ooze. I don't know what the hell this stuff is. All we know is that it burns management guy.
That's an awesome panel. That's a really
It was awesome. Yeah, this was like the page that blew me away when I was in the first issue.
Yeah. So the only thing that my little, it's a theory that I don't think is going to pan out, but the green stuff, right? Like you said, it's probably kryptonite, and it looks like it hurts them, right? So I mean, that could very well be it. But I was thinking, like, what if the Lazarus pits on the regular Earth, they're green goo that looks like this, and in this book we have the Lazarus Corporation. I'm like, what if the whole corporation was formed around this stuff right here? Some of it made its way to Earth, and Lazarus was like, hey, let's call this Lazarus and call our company Lazarus, and our whole thing is going to be this stuff. So I don't know if that'll come out. I mean, it doesn't really look like it's going that way, but that's just the first thought I had.
Damn, I love that. I love that idea. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. At the same time that all this is happening, we get a little exposition on Jor-El. We find out that he was the top of his class at the Science Academy. And at his graduation speech, he started giving a speech condemning the Science League's what he called environmental recklessness, which is, I guess they were mining this stuff and they weren't supposed to be mining this stuff. I don't know, but he gave a speech to it at his graduating class, and they told him, "Yeah, you're out of here. You can't join the Science League."
Rip his whole life away. Yeah.
So that's 2 kids that they shitted on and destroyed their lives so far. But yeah, when this ends right here, we're kind of led to believe that this is how Krypton will eventually be destroyed. So I guess we can move on to the next panel here. We then shift our focus to the present day Earth, right? Particularly Brazil, where we meet a group of miners led by a man. Now, I cannot pronounce this guy's name. If anybody can help me out with his name, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm going to call him Zhao. How about that?
Sure. We'll call him Jay.
Jay. I like that even better. Thanks, Tad.
Hip-hop.
We meet a group of miners led by a guy named Jay, who are mining diamonds for the Lazarus Corporation. And it seems these workers are under the same kind of circumstances as the miners on Krypton. So a nice little juxtaposition there, mirror imaging, right?
Yeah. I love the peacekeeper guards here.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool how they
don't manage.
I didn't even catch that they were wearing peacemaker helmets when I first saw this panel. I didn't even catch that.
It's like private security,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're mining this. They're mining diamonds basically for the Lazarus Corporation, and they're in like hazardous circumstances, right? Like the mine is full of asbestos and all kinds of fucking toxic shit, and because they're so poor, they work anyway, right? Because they're doing it for their families. They're trying to feed their families. I'm guessing that if they don't do this type of work, they're not going to eat, right? They're not going to have any money. So again, another little juxtaposition to the labor guild on Krypton here. But then we're taken to the previous night, right? So we're introduced to this group of miners, and then we go one day before, where we see Jay having a conversation with a mysterious fellow miner. And right here, immediately, you know who this guy is, right?
It's such a great introduction, man. I love. He looks so foreign and alien here. It's so great, and I love the X-ray vision from Sandoval.
Oh yeah. When I saw this, I was like, "Oh look, it's Superman!" But does his eyes glow blue every time he does X-ray vision? Is that a thing?
I don't know, but
in this version, he does. I guess it's just a nice little visual cue that he's using it. I guess.
Oh yeah. And then they basically have this conversation about, he's asking them, why do you do what you do? Is it worth it? And, Jay's telling him, yeah, I mean, if it helps us help our families and stuff like that, it's totally worth it. It is what it is, So it looks like our boy is maybe having some faith questions, right? Like he's not totally committed to the bit. But anyway, we go back to the present day. Let me see. We go back to the present day where the soldiers from the Lazarus Corps do not believe that the miners mined this recent batch of diamonds. So basically, Jay goes into the diamond mine and finds that all the diamonds have been mined and crushed already, and that all the asbestos is gone from the area. So he goes immediately, he takes the diamonds to the Lazarus Corps soldiers here to let them know the job is done, and they don't believe him. Immediately, they're like, no, you guys couldn't have done this on your own. And then they start saying like, well, is everybody here accounted for? And they take a head count. Basically, one guy is missing, right? So they go immediately, they beeline to the guy's house, right? So we zoom in on this shack here.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. And this part kind of confused me. I don't know if it confused you guys when I saw the shack with this panel on top. I'm like, what am I looking at? It's kind of confusing. I didn't know it was a shack with a solar panel on top. But yeah, we see them cruising on the shack with a solar panel on top, and we see Superman or Kal sleeping, I guess, and he's getting charged by these solar panels. So right there, that's something completely different. Am I wrong here?
No. What did y'all? I'm curious. What did y'all think about he's got to be charged up type? He's like he's a battery powered Superman kind of like. How y'all feeling about this?
Well, I mean, it's not too much different from the regular, Superman, right? Because he does get his powers from the sun, and his cells drink up solar radiation. It's just we've never really seen him like plugged into solar panels before. Usually he just like lays out in the sun for an hour and he's like, hey, I'm good. But this time it's like, no, I'm an actual solar battery that's getting charged. So it was a little bit different, but it's not completely unheard of.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I'm like, I remember the sun powering Superman in the Christopher Reeves movies, right? Like he's waiting for the sun to hit him and then he would get like all his power back. But like this guy's like hooked up with cables, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but like Matt said, it is in the comics as well, where he gets his powers from the sun. So I feel like this is just an extension. But I guess, like I was saying earlier, where it's like these fresh kind of ideas, but it still feels familiar.
Yeah.
This is like another example of that.
Yeah. All right. So as the Lazarus Corps soldiers close in on his position, we hear a voice warning Kal-El, right, to get out of there. Like, wake up, get out of here. They're coming, that kind of thing. But Kal-El, he decides to engage the soldiers anyway. And then we get this badass fight scene right here. Where he's just throwing people at the tanks and
that's an awesome page.
Showing how strong he is. And while he's fighting, the voice is telling him, you're not powered up all the way. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing this. You got to get out of here, kind of thing. Also letting them know about their world, right? Like he says right here, Kal-El, this is a planet of combustion engines, fanatical religions, and thermonuclear weapons. These people are never safe, right? Get out of here.
It's funny because it's true.
So then we cut to an incoming Lazarus Corp team called the Phenomena Field Team, who were ordered to capture Kal-El alive. So we have these different divisions of the same corporation, right? This team is called the Phenomena Field Team, and we also learned that they've been tracking Kal-El for some time, but we're unable to track him because of his suit. Right, the suit. They say that it like shapeshifts and changes every time they try to track him or something like that. But at the same time, we discover that's where the voice is coming from. So my man got a symbiote suit mixed with an Iron Man suit.
Yeah,
man, it has some crazy power. He's got some crazy stuff that it reveals.
Yeah, and the only thing about that when I read this, just the first issue, I was like, so the only thing that bugged me a little bit was I didn't know, does he get his powers all from the suit?
Yeah,
that's
like
what
he's just
I
a regular
was
guy,
wondering.
and the powers come from the suit, or are they part of him? Now, the second issue thankfully cleared that up for us very, very clearly. But just after this one, I was like, I just wish I knew if it was the suit or if it was him and the suit or what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As the drop ships come in and they close on him, though, he lets out this like burst of energy, right? Which the suit kind of warns him against doing. And I've never seen Superman do this before. Again, another part where you guys got to correct me where I'm wrong, but he just lets out this energy field that just knocks all the soldiers back. Right?
So it reminds me a little of I think, was it after the New 52 he got a power where if he had like too much sun in him, he can like just self-combust, like create this huge bomb. It reminded me a little of that.
Yeah, he could do like a big solar flare, and if he did that, I mean, it was like the biggest attack ever, but then that left him powerless for about a day. It took him about a day to recharge.
Exactly.
So for a day, he was just like a regular guy, so he had to use that power sparingly.
Oh, wow.
I was also wondering if he killed anybody when he let out this energy blast. Did anybody die?
That's a good question.
Good armor, I don't know.
Yeah, if you look at that panel right underneath the skeleton, you'll see people on fire.
Yeah.
So, he killing people.
That's a little different. It's a little different.
Fable, can you bring the next one up?
The next one up. I got you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You see this guy. His eyes. What's he doing with the
And in that panel where he says, "Soul, shut me down," that's where I was thinking maybe he does have the power, and the suit can like push that down or something. So that made me think, okay, maybe it's not all the suit, but I still didn't know until the second issue.
And the suit seems pretty sentient as well. But from these lines, it doesn't look like it's just some dumb computer, because it's like you must never forget the lesson of Krypton, like reminding him and stuff. But anyway, he lets out this energy blast. All the soldiers go back, and then these drop ships start coming in with these tanks and stuff.
Yeah, the tank helicopters.
That was crazy. See, that's where it got a little silly.
Yeah.
The heli tanks.
Yeah, the heli tanks
come in, and just as they come in, the suit is warning him not to engage and to just get out of there, like just escape. And man, just as he's about to escape, here comes this big ass handcuff right around his wrist. And then we get this awesome panel of Agent Lane, man, who we all know is Lois Lane, handcuffing our boy. So this is like the big reveal of this issue, that Lois Lane is working for the Lazarus Corp. Any thoughts on all of that, man?
I wish it was Talia al Ghul. I'm serious.
Damn, that would have been awesome.
That's the one thing I don't like about all these of the Absolute. One of the things I don't like about the Absolute books is I really wish they would have mixed things up a little bit more, like Flashpoint. I was so excited in the last issue of Wonder Woman, and where there was Barbara, till I found out it wasn't Barbara I thought it was, but Barbara Minerva. So then I was like, oh, the Cheetah, okay. But I think it would have been a lot of fun if it was, Sergeant Rock coming out to meet Wonder Woman rather than Chris Pine. I forgot dude's name. And
Steve Trevor,
yeah, Steve Trevor, and it would have been a lot of fun if this was Talia al Ghul. So where's the switch going to be for Batman? Will Lois Lane be Catwoman? So, but that's not what we have here.
That's
We have
interesting.
Lois Lane.
It did feel cliche for Lois to be the one at the end, even though the shock is supposed to be her working for the Lazarus Corp. It just
Yeah.
being her that handcuffed him did feel cliche to me.
Tessa agrees. She wishes most people were Talia al Ghul,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Not mad at that.
So, yeah, man, overall thoughts on Superman issue 1, man. I know you guys said a little bit about what you felt about this issue, but any more thoughts on the first? Oh, wait, yeah, the epilogue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We go back
I'm
to
sorry. We get a small epilogue. First, we get a scene of a mysterious man at the Lazarus Corp base in Nevada, watching Kal-El fending off the Lazarus soldiers. Right? Who's this guy? Looks like right?
I feel like it's too soon. Just like with Joker and Absolute Batman in the first issue, I feel like it's too soon for Brainiac. That's just me.
We also get a shot of the Kent farm in Kansas looking destroyed with a sign in front saying property of the Lazarus Corp.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And then also we get a flashback of Jor-El returning home from the mines that were just collapsing and telling his family that they have to leave immediately, as we see a small eruption of the green stuff coming through the floor, man. And that's how the issue ends. And now I'll ask you, what did you think of this first issue, guys?
What a ride.
I love that. I'm sorry. I love that Soups wasn't a baby on Krypton, that he was like, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 or something like that. I thought that was really cool.
So we get Jonathan Kent back.
Yeah, when I got to that part right there, I turned the page. I was like, "Wait a minute, he's with it. He's a kid with his parents on Krypton," and that's when that's what for me turned a really good book into a great book, because I was like, to me, that's the most interesting part of this whole thing is him actually growing up on Krypton with his parents. And it's funny because his dad, like, that's regular Superman right there. If you look at Jor-El in that panel,
that's what I was thinking.
That's regular Superman. Yeah.
We get Crypto.
Nobody
Crypto.
said Crypto, man. Nobody got
Look,
excited.
hey.
So Crypto?
One thing too, right here, his mom has got Eradicator glasses on, bro. You never know.
Oh, I didn't notice. I didn't think about
But is
that.
that even his mom?
Oh, I don't even want
She
to
don't look the
all
same.
that.
Is that Sandoval doing the art on that page?
When it comes,
okay.
When it comes to the case of 11-year-old Kal-El,
fall in love.
But after reading this, I mean, for me, like, I was like, I didn't, because when this came out, I think we'd only had the first issue each of Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman, so I didn't quite know yet which one was my favorite. But I did think that this issue, I felt that Absolute Superman gave us more mystery and more opportunities to theory craft than Batman and Wonder Woman did. Because Batman, it's like, okay, it's still Bruce Wayne. The Rogues Gallery's still there. They're just his friends rather than his enemies. He's still in Gotham. He's still got gadgets and this kind of thing. But this one, I was like, oh, I don't know. He partly grew up on Krypton. Who is the Lazarus Corporation? Who is that guy at the end? Is that Brainiac? Is that Lex Luthor? Yeah. What is the Green Lazarus stuff? What's going on Krypton? Like, for me, there was more guesswork than the other two books were just like, oh, these are just the characters we know, just with a little bit of a different background. But this one, I thought, just had more to think about and more to chew on.
I hope Jason Aaron utilizes the fact that, he grew up on Krypton and shows us that in his adult self. I don't want him to just be pretty samey from the Superman we've had. I hope that he has different personality traits. There's something different about him that's because of the fact that he, wasn't born and raised, or not born, but raised on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this one. I think I like the fact that his parents were farmers, kind of thing, right? Like he wasn't rich, like Bruce Wayne isn't rich. You know what I mean? Which gives him a more grounded perspective on on life. In my opinion, I like that he's a kid and not a baby, right? Like you guys said. I like that he has both his parents there for a little while, and we soon find out that maybe they left with him instead of the original story. So I dug this, man. I dug this a lot more than I thought I would. Sandoval has the most comic book art out of the three artists for the
I
three
really
books.
liked it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna add as far as. And I'm sorry, Fable. I didn't.
No,
mean to
no,
cut you
no.
off, man.
Continue that. Yeah, keep going.
But yeah, that's basically. I just wanted to piggyback off of that and say that I really enjoyed the interior art throughout this issue. I wasn't completely sold on the story on the first issue. Issue 2 is when I really kind of it pulled me in.
Yeah.
But man, the interior art's beautiful. I think that it was really well done on issue 1.
Oh
Yeah, I knew it's just, people would ask me what my favorite one was. And I said, well, story wise, I'm teetering between Batman and Superman, but art wise, definitely Superman. Like that was a no brainer. Like I knew right off the bat, that was my favorite art of the three.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
All right, fellas. So let's move on to issue 2. Do I pull up the next one? There you go. Issue 2, Absolute Superman, also with a few great covers here. Stu, do you know some of the artists on these covers? I didn't get to take a look.
I don't, man. I think
the B cover is
I can pull it up.
Mahmoud
Yeah.
Abbar.
Yeah.
Oh, Mohammed Asrar, yeah.
Yes. There you go, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have the B cover.
The B cover is Mahmoud Asrar. The C cover is Mateus Mahanini.
Manhanini. And then
Raphael
Sandoval.
Albuquerque on the D.
Yeah, and that's the connecting cover. The Albuquerque one is the connecting with Batman and Wonder Woman too.
We got Sanford Green on a
all right.
He's killing it.
Incentive.
Oh, forget that. Trash.
Yeah, I don't. It's not like his Absolute Batman is so much better than this one, I feel like, but I don't know.
All right, so let's get into issue 2, guys, man. Son of Nothing. So this issue starts out with a flashback of Kal-El in class, and he's being scolded here for not using some sort of computer called the Luminarium.
Chat GPT.
Right.
Well, yeah, I was going to say some sort of AI for not writing his report for him, which is really weird. I was like, wow, now that's some current stuff right there.
I fucking love that. I fucking loved it. That's what he was getting in trouble for.
Also, they alluded to this in the first issue, but in this issue, it kind of a little more prominent. Does he have a problem speaking out loud? Because he kind of whispers shit, and then it's like, I can't hear you, boy. And then, like, you know what I mean? It happens several times throughout the series.
I don't know if it's just more of him being an introvert and just being like really shy and maybe insecure.
Okay. Yeah, and I kind of took it too as like he's bored and maybe fell asleep during class.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Crypto looks like he's sleeping too.
Yeah.
Crypto's out, bro. Crypto's out. Okay, so then we continue our story in present day, where Cal's being cuffed by Lois, right? And Cal figures out that he can't take the cuffs off, right? Like his computer's trying to take the cuffs off, but the suit is telling him that every time it tries, it reconfigures itself. So he's got some alien tech on or something, some weird ass cuff.
Yeah, he got really interesting with me, to me at this point, like with some of the abilities that the suit has.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we also get this running joke where Lois just shoots Kal-El in the face like a good 3 or 4 times. He's like,
that's a red flag. That's a red flag, Clark. I don't know.
Right.
Shoots him right in the face. Jesus Christ. But yeah, as he's trying to get out these cuffs, the Lazarus soldiers, they just open fire on them, man. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
I love this page from Sandoval, man. This is such great art.
It is.
Yeah.
The art is beautiful. The cuff, the swirls, and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, so they start opening fire, and then all of a sudden we get his cape finally forming in the back of him.
Yeah.
And cape is like a spawn cape, dude. It just
That's so
envelops them.
cool.
How do we feel about the cape?
I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
same.
Yeah,
And I remember before the any of these issues came out, I think Jason Aaron was in an interview or something. He's like, "Well, you'll see later on that the cape isn't really a cape. It's the dust of Krypton." And I was like, "What the heck does that mean?"
Yeah.
And
has
it's like, well,
healing
that
properties.
yeah, and it's like, oh, like you said, this really does seem like a spawn cape. Like it can do things, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And they do refer to it as the dust. They
Mhm.
call it the dust. He calls
Yeah.
it the dust.
it's the
but
black
yeah.
monster from Lost.
So
But this is
yeah,
the part that I really
ahead.
liked a lot about the Superman.
Same.
Because it's completely different than anything that I've ever seen with Superman before. It
Right.
reminds me a lot of Skeets from Booster Gold lore.
Yeah, I got that vibe.
Great
Yeah,
call,
so
dude. Great
yeah,
call.
and I really, it's a very interesting character. I really hope that it's developed more. I hope it's way more intelligent than AI. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the cape envelops them, and it protects them from the blast. And Superman figures he can't take these damn cuffs off, so he says screw it, and he takes flight, man. So this is the first time he also takes flight in any of this stuff.
Look at
Is he
that.
is he flying or is he leaping?
Oh, he might be leaping. Might be taking what is it? Leap in a single bound. Well, I
Yeah.
forgot,
All building in a single
That's-
bound.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Although on one of
OG
those
status.
variant covers, he is like zipping through the sky, so I don't know. Can he fly? Can he not? I don't
True.
know.
True. And the Lazarus soldiers, of course, pursuing their heli tanks, their weird ass helicopter tanks.
Yeah.
And now this is where I first realized that the Lazarus soldiers were peacemakers, and they call them peacemakers.
Yeah.
In this scene here, also the Brainiac system. So they basically referred to this AI here to help them with logistics, I guess, figure out what they should do next. And it tells them to fire chemical weapons at the level 11 or some shit. And it says peace at all costs.
Nice.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Of course, this blast knocks them out of the air, man. They fall straight down into this small town. And in the small town, when they get up, Lois immediately, he carries her off, and then I think she shoots him in the face.
oh
Again.
man, you
Yeah.
should have played it right.
One
man.
more
It was like
time.
he swept her off her feet, and then she shot him in the face.
One more time.
Can
This
you
is
can you
not-
go back a couple panels to where it had the peace means life, the missiles on there? Because again, right there where it says Lazarus means life, and to me that sort of supported my theory of, oh, is this like Lazarus juice or the Lazarus pit?
Right.
Like I don't know, but I was like, there's something there,
Yeah, there's definitely, and it's like with Saul trying to get through the handcuffs, he's like, I've never encountered anything like this before. It like he's basically unable to do it. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely like darker forces at play.
Uh-huh.
This makes me think
That's that
like,
Brainiac tech.
yeah, like similar to how this is a mirror in a way of the Ultimate Universe at Marvel, and you have like the Maker and all his nefarious dealings. Like, I'm very curious as to who the big bad is here, kind of pulling all the strings, and like kind of like utilizing all these different types of tech and magic from all sorts of villains across the DC universe.
Also, what society is this? Because it is Earth, but this is the absolute universe. So this isn't our Earth. There's this corporation, Lazarus Corporation, that can freaking shoot people with bullets that say peace at all costs. What does that even mean? It's such extreme
That's like
violence.
the peacemaker. That's his thing, right? He'll kill women, children, babies. It doesn't matter as long as it's peace.
Yeah, right. And the world is made of dark side's like negative energy, right? So this world definitely is a little bit darker, a little bit more negative, But what if you were talking about Brainiac? Like, so what if it is Brainiac? Brainiac came from Krypton. Maybe he brought some of that green stuff with him from Krypton, like I said, and like made the Lazarus Corporation out of it. And I don't know. I mean, I'm fixated on that, and it probably won't be that, but I can't get that out of my head.
No,
That's
it's
a good
great.
theory.
Good theory. Yeah, I'm loving it. All right. So they land. Lois shoots him in the face, and the soldiers come in, man, and they don't give a crap. They just start shooting him up, trying to get Superman. They have no regard for the lives of these villagers or anything. And Superman, Kal-El, he's trying to explain this to Lois, right? Like, he's trying to tell her. She's saying, like, listen, if you would have just came with me in the first place, none of this would have happened. And he's like, what are you talking about? Look at what they're doing. They're shooting at you. They're shooting at these people. So he's having this whole dialogue with her.
Saved her twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while Lois is witnessing all of this, she's also writing a report. Right? She's writing this. They show these excerpts of I don't know, what do you call that when you write your mission thing? Report, your journal. I don't know.
Your mission report, mission log.
Yeah. And in her report, she's writing her observations of Kal-El. She's saying that his personality could change on a dime, right? Like he can be soft, but he could also be very assertive. She notices that he's very next joint.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
She notices that he's very anti-authority, right? Like she notices this attitude against authority and stuff like that. And yeah, you see the excerpts here.
I like that. I think she had like her personal notes, right, and then like the mission ones. I like that there was the dichotomy of what both of the notes look like.
Right.
Yeah, in the panel before this, right there, it isn't the suit. As soon as I saw that, I was like,
yes,
I can breathe easy now. You know, they spelled it out in plain letters for me. You know, I don't have to try to interpret. This Superman is plenty super all on his own. I was like, thank you so much for clarifying.
He's not a symbiote, bro. He's not a symbiote.
Yeah.
So you know, she's basically witnessing this guy save this town from her damn coworkers. Just crazy. And this shot right here is awesome.
Look at that, man.
Yeah, the cape enveloping, holding her. She's holding a child.
So great.
And they're handcuffed together, which I thought was pretty cool. Like a good imagery of what these characters are to us, right? We know that they're a couple.
And like the dust slaps little band-aids on the people to heal their wounds.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yes, it does. Yep.
Great call, Scotty. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's in one of the next panels.
I think it's the one before the next one. Yeah, it gives them little band-aids. Yes.
Oh wow.
So basically, at some point, the
there it is, top right.
Yeah, there it is. It's giving.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So basically, after fending off the Lazarus Corp soldiers, his suit, which is called Soul, by the way. I don't know if they mentioned that in this issue, but the suit is named Soul.
Yeah,
they did. Okay.
Yeah.
So the suit finally gets the cuffs off of Kal-El, and he just takes off, bro. He takes off, and Lois, she just looks at him, and you could tell that she's changed by this little skirmish in this small town. Yeah, more of their conversation right here. Yeah, you see the red thing goes through the cuffs.
Yep.
And unlocks it basically.
That's awesome.
So yeah, right after this happens, he just takes off, and I love the red mist that he leaves as he takes off, and she looks up at him while her coworkers are coming in in their drop ships.
Questioned.
Yeah.
So basically, after this, she's being debriefed by the mysterious Brainiac sort of character, and he's asking her things like, "Do you think he's a threat?" And she's like, "No, not in that way." He's like, "Yeah, he's a threat. Thank you."
Yeah, I love it. He's like, "What do you think about her?" She's like, "Oh, well, he's not a threat, not this and that." He's like, "Threat level 8 out of 10 noted." She's like, "Wait, what?"
We should take him out, definitely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she thinks she's just talking to
Brainiac
like
wants.
a computer, right? And she doesn't know that there's a being on the other side of that screen.
hooked up to it, yeah.
Brainiac wants all the smoke.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, she's getting debriefed by this Brainiac system or computer, and it's basically answering for her. She's telling it that he's not a threat, that they shouldn't probably go after him or whatever. And it's like, yeah, we'll go after him. Got it. She gets really frustrated, and she decides to write her own mission report or whatever it is. And I thought that was a great callback to the beginning of this issue, where Kal-El is being scolded by his school for not using the AI to
Right.
write his
Oh, yeah.
report. And she's
Good
basically
catch.
she's basically doing the same thing, like, you know what? I'm gonna write my own report. Screw this. Just like Kal-El did.
Yeah, I thought it was a. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I thought it was a cool way to foreshadow both of their careers in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, her reporter thing, right? Like, she's writing a story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Both of them, right, become reporters, or at least in the stories that we know. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen with Kal-El in this series, but I feel like she's definitely going towards becoming a reporter again.
Yeah.
Right. And then at the end of this issue, we get another flashback of how Cal's parents are building the ship, and basically
so cool.
the suit that's gonna help them escape Krypton.
This art, man, it's too much.
Yeah,
So good, right? And the color work is also phenomenal.
Yeah, the colors.
Really good.
So, guys, issue 2, overall thoughts, man, before we get into issue 3 here.
Oh man, I loved it.
You missed one thing, Fable.
Tell me.
When he messed up, Kal-El messed up and told Lois that your planet is messed up.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "What do you mean, my planet? What planet are you from?"
Yeah.
So that means they don't know that he's from another planet.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the suit tells him to shut up.
Right.
He's telling him, hey, slow it down.
It's like, dude, yeah.
Right now. Oh, another interesting thing. I think he only hears the suit. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he was talking to the suit, and she said sometimes it seems like he's talking to it.
Yeah,
If she could hear it, she would know. There's another voice, but yeah, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, it's not some loud voice. Only he hears it. So, yeah. Anybody else? Overall thoughts on the second issue, man?
Yeah, I guess the suit is more like Jarvis than it is Skeets in that regard.
Right.
The suit, like, it reminded me of a cross between Spawn's cape and the hand from the Void Rivals. The
Android.
Android. Yeah. Good call, Scotty. Yeah.
Android's great. Yeah, it was this issue. After I finished reading this one, I was locked in. I was like, yep, this is my favorite, of the 3. This is the one that does it for me, because the artwork, this one was completely action packed. All of the different little things to chew on and think about. This was the one that just completely sold me on. This is my favorite of the 3.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we got this scene too, where these asses just shoot
These-
down innocent people for no reason.
They execute just like that those people that Kal-El was just helping.
Before we
move on, there's one thing I wanted to show with Brainiac. I really loved at the end of issue 1, dude.
Yes.
There's this shot, right?
Yes.
And you see all these little mini Candors, screaming and begging for help. At the end of issue 2, we kind of get that same shot. They're all mysteriously silent.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of like that was kind of creepy.
What was that? Is that what they are? Candors?
Yeah, it seems like little mini civilizations.
That's what my question is. Like, it's probably different.
Is known for,
I feel like it's different. Different worlds, right? Different cities from different worlds, and one of them has to be Kandor.
Yeah, and it looks like they're infected with something. Like these little spores kind of floating around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Very like little detail I picked up on. I thought.
Oh yeah.
That panel right there with the peacemakers. I like that. The one peacemaker that's going rogue. She calls him Smith, and that's Chris Smith, who is Peacemaker from regular.
Oh, good call.
Oh,
nice catch.
Yeah, great
See, this
match.
is the stuff I wouldn't catch at all.
See, this is why having a book club rules. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. I agree with Matt. This is the issue that dug me in even further, where I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, okay, I see why people are digging this one. I get it.
Mhm.
I get it. But yeah, I thought it was a great issue.
I don't want to. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, especially the way it bookended itself. I
Yeah.
think that's great storytelling. You know,
Yep.
where you show something and it's a callback at the end, and it just like it wraps around itself. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was a great issue. I don't want to go against the grain though, but for me, I did feel a little disappointed. Like I didn't get enough from this issue, and I don't want to compare it to the other Absolute series, but I just felt like I enjoyed Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman 2 a bit more than I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
And that's awesome because we talked about it on the last one. That's what's so cool about these new Absolute books is there is not a clear-cut favorite amongst the community. Everybody, it seems like it's evenly spread. Maybe this one is behind a little bit as far as favorites go, but like it's evenly spread across the board where lots of people like Wonder Woman, lots like Batman, lots like Superman. So
yeah,
I just love it that I'm so glad that it's not like everybody loves, kind of like the Ultimates, right? Everybody loves Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimates, but then you get to Black Panther next, like, those aren't, but this one's like everybody loves all of them.
my boy,
That's true.
my boy Robbie last night on his show, he was like, he had Stu on. He was like, "Which one are you covering?" Or like Superman 1 through 3. He was like, "Oh, that's gonna be the roughest one of all." It's like, screw you, Robbie. Screw you.
Anybody got high hopes for Ultimate Wolverine tomorrow?
Oh,
I read
man.
it.
I'm looking
and
forward to it.
2020.
I read it yesterday, and it's extremely good. It's so
Hey,
let's
nice.
go. That's so good to hear.
Happy to hear
Man. I'm
that,
so
yeah.
hyped. I'm so
I
hyped
gave
for
it.
that book. Dude.
I like to rate them on League of Comic Geeks when I'm done. I gave it full 5 stars. It's phenomenal. I can't wait for everybody to see it because holy cow! Like it's my pick of the week, right? It's like the best thing.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, that's
I
good.
cannot wait. That's so good to hear.
I ordered up, man. I got a couple of covers.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I hope you guys like it.
Scotty, you got a couple covers. Are we surprised here?
I can't
love you,
wait,
Scotty.
man.
Scotty reminds me of me when I got it in 2019. I was buying like 5 copies of everything.
Oh yeah.
Man, Fable, that was you in 2024 too.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, 2023, my fault. Yeah, you
Maybe
calmed down,
2023.
man.
Hey, let Scotty buy his covers. All right, those are some dope covers.
I live
Cover A all
vicariously
day.
through him. I love it. I love seeing it.
I'll say this just real quick about Ultimate Wolverine is if I love Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimates, but if the series keeps going on like the way the first issue of Ultimate Wolverine does, then that's going to be my new favorite on top of Spider-Man Ultimates. It's that good, man. It's phenomenal.
Let me tell you, Ultimate Spider-Man is freaking phenomenal. That was my book of 2024, personally.
Yeah.
Definitely a great series.
Oh yeah. All right, guys, let's move on to issue 3 so we can get up out of here. The latest issue of Absolute Superman. I got to switch this thing, right?
Yes, sir. We just got 2 more and then we're done, bro. This one and one more.
Alrighty.
Absolute Batman. That's just for you, Lost in Comics. Appreciate you, chat.
We love you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
good
for
to see you
sticking with
back,
us through this
brother.
thing.
Oh,
So yeah, issue 3 of Absolute Superman. Any of these covers stand out to you? Anybody get any of these? Let me just look them up real quick.
I grabbed
Cover
the
A all
Christian
day.
Ward. That Christian
Oh,
Ward
shoot.
you just showed. I grabbed the one.
Christian
that
Ward
one on
is
the left.
fire. That's like been one of the best ones of the series so far for me. I love that
Christian
one.
Ward is the cover C. Cover B is Declan Shalvey.
Is that Raphael Albuquerque on the right? I think.
No, I think we got Mike Perkins on the incentive.
Yeah, that's Albuquerque. That's number 2 though. The one on the right is number 2.
Yeah, and then there's Mike Perkins right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's.
I just
kinda-
went with the A
Renegade
cover because the
glasses.
colors. I thought the colors on
Yeah.
the A cover were phenomenal.
Oh,
That A pops. A is beautiful. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So issue 3 takes place almost entirely in the past.
Yeah.
I love
We
it.
opened up with Cal saying how he was never one for school, which was okay with him, right?
Yep.
We get a new class here that we didn't see, the law guild.
I love this. When I saw this, I was like, man, that's this. Like I said, that's the most interesting part of this whole thing is him growing up on Krypton,
Yeah.
and the fact that this whole issue was that, and seeing him run through the fields with Crypto, like it just warmed my heart. I loved it.
I love the dichotomy of what he was there compared to what we come to know him as, the strongest man, the fastest man. But on Krypton, he was the slowest kid, not the brightest, well, that's what they thought, even though he was bright. But, I love the differences.
He preferred to be in the countryside with his parents. He says that his parents were his best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my two friends.
Right.
A great shot.
I thought he was talking about Crypto and the little, I don't know what that is.
Bat thing? Maybe he was. Maybe he was.
It reminds me of a sugar glider. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Those are awesome.
Maybe it came back on the ship with him to Earth, and then that's what Bruce Wayne saw when he became Batman. He's like, I'm going to do that thing,
All right. I can get behind the Lazarus thing, but I don't know.
Everybody, you only get one crazy theory, not two.
Yeah.
And we get to see Cal and his parents take a trip to the Rao Mountains. They call this the Rao Mountains.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Jor-El has been taking samples from the mountains, basically trying to prove his theory of the imminent destruction of Krypton. And this I thought was an awesome panel right here, like a red version of the Fortress of Solitude, basically. Gorgeous color work.
Absolutely,
right here.
Ulysses Areola on the colors. I haven't really heard that name before, but doing a fantastic job. Yeah, doing a fantastic job on this book.
Killing the colors.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. I'm enjoying the conversation. I actually love this Absolute Superman run. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Absolutely,
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. So we see him taking samples of the mountain, basically, and Cal's a little bit it's a little oblivious, right, to this, but basically his parents talk to him about the school, that the school's telling him he's not doing his best.
This is the moment you were talking about, man.
Yeah.
That
he's not using the AI to write his reports for him, which is tradition in Krypton. And just when he thinks he's going to get in trouble, his parents say, "Keep it up, buddy."
That's punk rock as hell. I love that.
Which is something we all want from our parents, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A little pat on the back. When your parents give you that pat on the back, that shit feels great, man. So he knows he's not a screw up, right? But anyway, yeah. So we go forward and we see that Cal is kind of like spying on his parents, right? And his parents are having this conversation while they're building something. Right, they're building things, and we could assume that this is the ship that they're building to take them off of Krypton. And they're talking about why he's gathering these samples. He wants to go to the Science Guild and warn the Science Guild about this stuff that's happening to the planet. But after this, we see that the destruction has kind of already started happening. Right, Cal takes a bike ride. And he starts seeing these like acid. Looks like acid ate these things all around the countryside. Animals, the plains are burned and stuff like that. We even see a shot of a person, I think, in the panel after this, and he's like burned up and irradiated. I think it was next to the train panel. I'm not sure, but.
I love Crypto's gas mask. That's so cool.
I didn't even notice that, dude. That's awesome.
I didn't either till just now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you see the fish are dying. So this thing's already in gear, and it's happening on it's kind of slow, right? It's not like immediate destruction like how it used to be in other versions of Superman, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's like that thing where like the working class are the ones living on the surface of this planet, right? And you see here in a minute, like the ruling class, the elites are way up high in these skyscrapers, away from all of this. So, kind of trying to be, thumb their noses up at it, like they're
I feel like we've seen in past Krypton disruptions where things start to collapse and things start to fall apart slowly before there's this kind of big explosion. But for me, what's really different is this gas, and that's the focus of what's killing things. Is it kryptonite or does it become the Lazarus stuff? I think that was really interesting. That's the way that the planet starts to die.
And one of go ahead.
It's just so wild to me that Superman's been around since the late 30s, and like how the theme of Krypton and a dying planet and people refusing to listen to warnings is like more relevant today than ever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just just like that's what this book. That's what.
Unfortunately, I think every year it's gonna get closer and closer to home.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like it's so brilliant and such a bit of foresight from this book and these creators that they could have an idea that continues just.
Well, right.
Sadly,
10 years ago they were saying there was no such thing as global warming, and now we notice that the weather is changing. I don't care what you say.
Now they say less than 10 years before it's irreversible.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. One thing I think I forgot to mention was also that when they're scolding him, I think he says something like they're just words, they're my words, or something like I'd rather write this stuff down myself,
right,
than use the computer. And then that's exactly what he starts doing when he starts witnessing all this natural disasters happening. He starts writing about it. But anyway, we fast forward, and one day while Cal is in class, he sees his father being dragged off. Oh yeah, here's the human I was talking about.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Up.
And then can you load the last one and we're good to go.
Of course.
Thank you.
He's in class, and everybody's excited to apply to the science school because that's the highest thing, right? That's what you want to achieve to. That's what everybody wants to do. But anyway, Cal wanders off, and he sees his father being dragged down the hallway by the Law Guild, and they're basically calling him a heretic, right? Just spouting off crazy shit and not believing him, and this is a little jarring for Cal. I would imagine you see your father getting tased and shit and beat by cops, basically.
Yeah. Well, and as we'll see in a minute, it's not that they don't believe him. It's just they don't want to. They believe him just fine. They just want to stir up panic,
Right. So basically, Cal does what any kid would do. He runs home to his mother.
Yeah.
Mommy.
Mom.
I love that.
Yeah. So then we get a nice, cool shot of his mother.
Dude, this was so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're not doing it justice, man.
Suiting up with a big ass lava gun.
Yeah.
What is this? I'm gonna get you, man. Show the actual page from the book, man.
I'm sorry, bro.
Suiting up with Soul, I believe, and a lava gun, and her, Cal, and Crypto head over to the Law Guild offices.
I love the dust on Crypto. Yeah. Crypto looks so cool.
Yeah. And he's got the cape, dude. He's got the dust cape.
Yeah, Crypto does.
Yeah. It's awesome. So they basically break into the law offices, start whooping ass, taking names. And then we get this awesome shot. I don't know if you got it here. Of there we go. There's this one in the next panel.
Yeah.
Of
the freaking
there you go.
There it is.
So
it's like,
sick.
Hey, can we get a series of just her doing that?
Yes.
Stuff?
I know, right?
So yeah, man, his mom is a badass, dude.
Yeah.
She basically looks like female Spawn in this thing to me.
Yeah.
She's whooping ass. So while they're at the old law offices whooping ass and freeing the dad, Cal wanders into a room where he finds this computer. And in the computer, he finds out that basically the Science League, like Matt was saying, they do know that the Krypton's about to be destroyed. They do know what's going on. And they've secretly been building ships and evacuating the upper class out of Krypton. And I think they've been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah.
Which is a real punch in the face to
And
everybody.
that just kind of goes to show, because in the old days we thought, oh, Krypton is this utopia of peace and harmony and advanced technology and this and that, but in this sort of darker, more negative universe, like, hey, Krypton's actually a pretty scummy place, run by pretty awful people who only care about themselves. It's just a nice contrast to what we normally think of.
Oh yeah. So they basically free Jor-El, and they head home and reveal their plan of escaping Krypton to Cal, who already was hip to the game. Right? He knew it was going down. So we shift to this final scene, which is like the big reveal, I think, of this book, to a hospital where we see what? Tell me.
The answer to Scott Snyder's challenge to the Batmobile. When you see the
ship, you see the ship. They reveal the ship.
Man, that ship is like
giant.
There you go.
It's wild.
How do we feel
right there? I love that because for some reason I didn't see it coming. I guess I should have, but he's like, I know the planet's dying. You're going to shoot me into space, and I was thinking, yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's too bad because I really like Jor-El and Lara. But then that panel where she's like, no, we're going to go together, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
that got me excited.
So then it's like, what happened to them between this panel and issue 2 or issue 1? Where are they?
Right. Yeah. That's what I want to know myself. I want to know where his parents are.
But she's like, we're going together. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect.
But yeah, after this, we shift to a scene in the hospital where we see an elderly woman calling out for her son, right? And the nurses or whatever, they're like, oh, she never had any kids or whatever. Like, we don't know what she's doing. And then when they do a close-up shot, we see her hospital band says M. Kent, which of course Martha Kent, and that's the big reveal. So, the Kents, man, we had no kind of. I mean, we saw the farm in issue 1.
Yep, right.
That was it. So this is the second kind of thing about the Kents. So, guys, what did you think? Issue 3 overall.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of issue 1, when we did see a brief little shot of the farm, but it was all, torn down. It made me think, did he ever live here? Or, what happened to it to get it into this state? And then we saw this. I'm like, okay, so he did spend time with the Kents, I guess, because there's a picture of him right there with them. So he did spend time with them, but maybe this time in this world, they never told anybody that they had, because in the regular world, they're like, they found him, but they just told everybody that they adopted him or whatever, and everybody knew they had a son. But in this one, maybe they never told anybody, so nobody knows that they had a kid, but she knows, and that's why they think, who's she talking about, So I thought this was really cool. So I'm interested to learn more about the Kents in this world and his time with them.
Yeah, and he must have just left them, right? Because she's like, where did you go?
Right. So why did he leave?
And my thoughts are maybe the Kents are his parents from Krypton. Maybe the whole family became alias once they got to Earth.
You just blew my mind.
So that's what I was going to say, Tak, is that when I first saw this, I thought that maybe the person they were talking about in the room was Lara, his actual mom, and maybe she changed her name to Martha Kent. But the thing is, her age, her looking, so old, and they're saying that she's deteriorating more and more. Of course, maybe something happened traveling to Earth that messed her up versus Soups. But I'm not sure. I'm definitely excited to find out what happened to his parents coming to Earth, and if these are if this is Martha Kent, the one that we all know.
I never even considered that. Yeah, maybe this is his parents, and maybe the suit is what's keeping him young, and they don't have the suit. So I don't know, but but holy cow, I never thought about that. But that's amazing,
man. I love that.
Oh my god. See, and that's the kind of thing is like this book, this series has more questions like that than either Batman or Superman. So that's why I gravitate more towards this one.
It was a nice little curveball after spending so much time with, Lara and Jor-El and,
Yeah.
all that backstory on Krypton. This was like, oh yeah, Martha Kent. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And that little picture, I was like, I know y'all were too, like trying to figure out, oh, that's him on the picture, and trying to look at that the right way. Yeah.
I love the backstory and getting more of the origin of his time on Krypton, but I do wish that we had a little bit more present day story, Soup, since this is only the third issue. For the whole issue to be the backstory, other than these couple pages, I was a little disappointed in that, but you know, I'm not trying to take away from it. Overall, great book and a great series so far.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was a little. I thought it was all in her head too. Like, what, you know what I mean? Is she like imagining something? You know what I'm saying? But then I didn't notice this damn picture on the side. Now I'm noticing there's 3 people in that picture. So okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought that first too until I saw the pic. Without that picture there, I would think, who's she talking? Or did she even really have a kid? But the fact that that picture's there, I think they did that for a reason, so that they would tell us to let us know, hey, there is something going. There is some truth to this.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
across the Absolute universe, I like how each one of these members of the Trinity is laid low in some way. You know what I mean? Like, Wonder Woman is kind of facing overwhelming odds and is without her people. She doesn't know what being an Amazon. She doesn't have that tie. Like, Batman is kind of like without his funds. He's not the normal Batman we know him to be. He doesn't have that network, and he hasn't figured it all out yet, and he feels overwhelmed. And like, same here, Soups is not all the way powered up. He's kind of getting by piecemeal, and he, like you guys just pointed out, he may not even be who we think he is. So I love this little twist in how they're kind of handicapping each member of the Trinity and kind of building it up. So it's been
and that was the big thing with the Absolute Universe when Scott Snyder first started talking about it. Is this is a universe where the heroes don't have all the advantages that they have in the regular world, and they're fighting an uphill battle and that kind of thing. So they're the underdogs, basically.
Yeah, hope is.
And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, they all grew up fucked up, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
which is relatable.
Bruce ain't rich. Just Diana's in hell.
And so I've heard some criticism of people like, oh, we've seen this story of Superman is evil or not evil, but Superman isn't Superman and Batman is at a disadvantage. But that's the point that of this universe. That's the entire point, is that they don't have those advantages. So it's not that they're just rehashing stories we've seen before. This universe is supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
It's just like Ultimate Spider-Man. I know there's drastic changes in that and him being older, but that's not the first time that there's been a Peter Parker that didn't get bit by the spider, that didn't have the powers, right? There's many versions of that Peter Parker, but it's still something fresh and new. So, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's the way that it happened and the reason why it happened. The maker prevented it from happening, or this one, it's negative energy that created the universe. So it's all in the hows and the whys.
My big criticism of Ultimate Spider-Man when it first came out was it was just renew your vows again. However, it has been anything but renew your vows. So, and then that's, of course it's Hickman. So, and Hickman we trust.
Yeah, right.
So I'm really happy that it's Peter with Mary Jane and kids, but it's not the same story. It's way different.
Right. Yeah.
And the universe building too.
Yeah. I like how there's like a level of whimsy to all 3 of these things. Like in Absolute Batman, him taking a damn axe out of his chest was just like super ridiculous. Him having a monster truck fucking thing, you know what I mean? And then Diana pulling out a goddamn Final Fantasy Buster sword out of her damn pouch.
And the magic.
And then we got this guy
ripping her arm off,
charged by solar panels and
with a Spawn cape.
Spawn cape. We got some bonkers stuff going on, and I like that. I like when they take chances like that. Lets you know that they're trying some stuff, which is, I think, if you hear a lot of people, is a little bit missing from Marvel these days. So I'm digging it, bro. I'm digging it. I know you guys have said this before. Probably a couple of you have already mentioned this, but all right, we're 3 issues in on each of these. Which one you got, bro? Which one you got?
This one.
Superman.
That's a tough.
Yeah,
It's still
Wonder
tough
Woman for
between
me.
this and Wonder
I got
Woman.
Wonder Woman too. I'm Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman here.
Wonder Woman.
I just have to say Superman this tonight, so Matt isn't by himself.
It's fine. I don't mind being
I
the
think
dog man.
Superman really needs to I'm surprised Robbie said it. Like, oh, you guys are gonna have your hands full because to me this is such a smart book in the world building. This is something else, and this is exactly what I expected when they brought Jason Aaron on. And I think that they're going to give him, like I said at the beginning, that we're going to bookend it here, that they're going to give him his space, and he's going to tell a tale of Superman that's going to be like people talk about Grant Morrison. You know, if John Byrne would have had his whole time to write, or if that's how they wrote back in the mid '80s when he had Man of Steel and Superman reboot. So I'm expecting big things out of this title, and so far it's delivered.
I agree.
Which is your favorite Fable?
I guess I'll be the lonely man on the island. I'm going Absolute Batman, man.
Let's go.
There you
go.
I love Victor Goda's art on that. I think it's wild crazy. I love the wild craziness of it. And you said something, Tacky, in particular that resonates with me, and that's world building. And I thought Absolute Batman #1 was an absolute masterclass in world building and introducing the characters to a book. Where I feel like Wonder Woman is probably my third because of that. Like, you know, she falls, she fights a big ass demon in the ocean, the Trevor's in hell, you know, whatever. This one I felt has also a great sense of world building. But you know what's great about all three of these books? That we still don't know shit.
Yeah.
It's still taking a lot of time to know what the hell's going on in all three of them.
But it's not. But they're not. It's not dragging along like the Ultimate Universe is. I love I love Ultimate Spider-Man, the Ultimates, and they are really setting up a big story and really creating a big world there. But it's been moving at a snail's pace, and maybe it's because that universe it's aging in real time. You know, every month. You know, so maybe that's part of it. But there's a whole lot of Ultimate Spider-Man issues where there's no Spider-Man. You know, and that's kind of is a little bit of a bummer. But this universe is like, holy cow, we're getting all kinds of cool stuff every issue.
Yeah,
it's way different.
I had to finally drop Ultimate Black Panther because I
was about to say,
I gave up on that a few months ago.
We're waiting for Brian.
Isn't that just Black Panther?
Turn the knob on it. Well, no, I mean, everybody's been critical of Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. They don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah, I mean, you might like it for the art, but I don't think anybody knows what the hell is going on.
I don't. I've read every single issue. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I don't even think Peach knows what's going on.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're getting. If you read her Demon Days books, it's kind of like that's so cool. I don't know what the fuck it's about though.
Yeah.
I think that's X-23 right there, and she's got a wolf. Man, that's dope as hell. I don't know what the story's about though.
Yeah.
Comic Cap Station, how are you, my brother? Thanks for joining us. Man. He said global warming. I'm 50 and been hearing it for at least 40.
Boy, you starting to live it now, man.
Yeah, for real.
The summer will be over with in about 3 weeks. It'll be springtime. It'll
be spring in 3 weeks. That's like
February,
the same thing to my wife.
You're right, though.
Oh, but yeah, man, that concludes our third episode of Absolute Book Club covering Absolute Superman 1 through 3. I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining us tonight and everybody on this panel, man. Episode 4 will be coming out next month. We're not 100% sure where it'll be, and we're not 100% sure what book we're going to cover because there's going to be 3 more freaking Absolute books, and that's going to get really complicated.
We might need to start mixing it up or something to try to keep
Yeah, we might have to do. I'll do Absolute Batman 4 and Martian Manhunter 1. You do Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? We have to take 2 from different ones.
Maybe the next episode is the next issue is the next issue of each Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. You know, because Flash won't be out till March, so we'll have to figure it out for.
When is Martian Manhunter out?
All those come out like the last. I think it's the 19th to 26th of March, and then sometime in early April or that next round of
Javier Rodriguez.
Yeah. So maybe we should wait till after Martian Manhunter for the next one. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I think what Matt said, we can get one in February and cover the
Oh,
big
that's right.
three,
That's
and then
right.
yeah,
I'm
and
way
then
ahead.
we'll see where we're at when they
I'm way ahead
drop
of
that.
time. I think
Yeah,
it's
when
February already.
that next wave drops, though, we're going to be in trouble. Trying to manage six absolute titles in the book club is going to be interesting. So.
Well, you know
We can
what?
do
I'm glad we caught up. So now our episodes will be a little tighter, a little shorter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
We can put more energy into 1 or 2 issues instead of 3. But it was still fun doing all 3
sure.
of these with you guys.
Yeah,
man.
it's been
awesome.
great, man.
Had a
And
great time.
Thanks for bearing with me because this is my first time
You did
doing
great,
this.
dude.
You did great, man.
read-along crap.
Now you killed it, bro.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I crunched it in the last minute. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
You killed it, bro.
I really appreciate it. But man, before we head out of here, just want to hear what something you guys got coming up, man. Scotty, man, where can we catch you next?
Okay, I got a lot of stuff coming up tomorrow. I'll drop my weekly video tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's a series where I cover underground cartoonists, different adult erotica in comics and art. This week I'm covering Peter Bagg, who is pretty well-known cartoonist. He had Hate Revisited from Fantagraphics last year. Really cool title. I've got that. Me and Robbie are live. I'm a guest with Robbie this Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go.
Mark Spears.
That's going to be a lot of fun. and let's see. Oh yeah, I'm also I got an amazing mail call yesterday. I got 2.5 years worth of heavy metal magazines.
Oh
my
God.
That is amazing, dude.
Some amazing stuff. So I made a
So
video.
jelly. So jelly.
Dude, I made a video. Wait till you see it all. I made a video going through it, and so I'll probably drop that later on in the week. So a lot of different things coming up. I'll probably go live next Tuesday morning because I wasn't able to this week like I was going to, and a lot of people planned on joining me, so I was disappointed. So I'll try to do that next Tuesday morning. I'll try to do like a Comic Book Addicts next Tuesday morning.
Dude, we need a heavy metal breakdown series. So many legendary creators on that book.
Yeah.
So many...
I feel like heavy metal is not covered in any.
No, it's especially on the man.
In 5 years, and I have heard no
Definitely.
one come and say something like, "Remember when your favorite artist did this issue of heavy metal?" I've never heard anybody.
I've heard only about Peach. Peach is heavy metal.
Mm-hmm. That's
the only person. I know there's a lot of artists that have done things in heavy metal. That's the only one I've heard any discussion about. So.
Oh yeah.
That's what I got basically. All that stuff I just said.
I'm looking forward to it, bro. Dude. I'm looking forward to it. Stu, my brother, Dr. Doom's fan club. What you got coming, my brother?
Yeah, man. Tomorrow night on my channel, Dr. Doom's fan club, Ink and Insights. Me and my boy E at 9:30 p.m. We're welcoming indie creator Morgan Herron, who's got a Kickstarter going on for his book, Frankie Boy Monster. I can't wait to have him on and talk about that book and his creative process. Only other thing I want to plug, man, at the end of the month, the 31st, Blaine Fable and his amazing friends are Comics Curing Cancer show. Y'all get on that wheel. We have an amazing set of prize bundles. We've been posting videos, featuring everything we got. Get on the wheel with $25. That you can go to Comics Curing Cancer on Instagram, get the link for the American Cancer Society. All you got to do is screenshot your donation, send it to either Nick or Fable to get you on the wheel. And seriously, guys, some of those books and prizes we got up is going to be incredible. So that's the only thing I want to plug. I can't wait for that show. Hope to see so many other members of the community out for it. Thanks again for having me, guys.
Oh yeah, thanks for plugging that.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. If you want to see people breaking down comic books, go watch Ink and Insights. Much better job than I do. But if you want to see somebody just MC a show, yeah, come see Blaine Fable. That's my bag. But Sergio, my brother, man, our writer in the group. I love having you on here, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks again for coming through, bro.
Oh yeah. Yes, I saw that you just dropped that. Sergio, let them know where we could check you out. What you got coming up?
Scotty, thank you for sharing that for me. I wasn't able to log in. Fable, thank you for hosting, man. I just want to say my thank yous first and foremost. Thank you for hosting, Stu. Those slides fucking kill it every time.
Oh yeah.
Scotty,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you for setting this whole thing up, man. I
Of
appreciate
course,
you.
it's
Matt,
fun, man.
Talk, you guys are awesome, so knowledgeable. It's always a fun time. Thank you to the chat for hanging out. And yeah, I've mentioned this before. I write for CBSI, comicbookinvest.com. Scotty just shared a link. That's a link to all my articles. My most recent one is my favorite books of 2024. So top 5 books of last year for me. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to talk about new books that are coming out, some books that I'm excited about for the new year. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me. I really appreciate you. And I'm already excited to meet up again and have another book club session.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love,
Happy
love
New
having
Year,
you
by
on
the way.
phone. Yeah, happy New
Oh
Year.
yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Love having you on the show, Sergio. You bring so much to the table with your
Yeah.
knowledge. Yeah, just to rewind real quick, he said don't miss out on Stu's new show, Surrounded by Short Boxes, talking about comic book breakdowns. Here we go. This is another reason why you should definitely check Stu out. But yeah, Sergio, love having you on. And speaking of adding things to the table, man, my man Matt, Bumpkins TV, man. Awesome reviews on Instagram. I watch every single one of them every time
Oh,
you
nice.
drop
Thank
them.
you.
Yeah, so good.
Dude, what do you got coming up, bro?
I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. You know, I dropped, I think like 5 or 6 preview videos of this week's books over the last couple of days. I posted my Ultimate Wolverine preview video earlier today. They're short, but spoiler free. They get kind of vague sometimes, but I don't want to spoil anything because I don't want to rob anybody of the experience. I would say, most of my stuff is on TikTok, but who knows if that'll be around this time next week. So I don't know, but but so between that and just the stuff that I do for my LCS Infinity Flux, you can check their YouTube channel out. We've got another video coming tomorrow, and our usual schedule. We post 3 or 4 videos, or 4 videos a week, sometimes 5 if we do our live show. But yeah, just all kinds of cool stuff over there.
Dude, yeah, keep
Great
killing
content
them.
over there.
Freaking
Absolutely.
awesome. Your videos are fantastic. Definitely check
Appreciate it.
out Matt at Bumpkins TV, man. You will not regret it. My
Thank you.
brother Tacky, man, the sharpest tool in this chat. I'm telling you, bro. Tacky, what you got coming up, brother?
Well, the next time you'll see me is on January 31st as we do Comics Curing Cancer. You can help defeat or start the defeat of cancer by just the $25 pledge. And what do you get for that $25 pledge? Possibly the end of cancer, which would be the best
I
thing
love it.
ever because it's a bitch and
Yeah.
it deserves to die.
It
Amen.
deserves
But
to
not
die.
only that, you are also entered on a wheel with amazing prizes like a Justice League of America omnibus, a 9.8 of Nice House on the Lake. You got original
Ooh, love that
De La
series.
Ghetto. You got a signed book by Ram V. There's so
With
much
the sketch.
with the sketch. You have Lady Killer by the great Joel Jones. There's so much stuff
Hey.
that you potentially could walk away with, and you could say "fuck you" to cancer. What more do you want?
It's always
Join
good.
us January 31st. Make sure you follow the instructions. Make the donations to Comics Curing Cancer, a great event that was held earlier this year and is continuing at the end of this month. So let's do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Let's make
thank you for that
2025
tag,
the year
man.
we say fuck cancer.
Oh
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah. Let's
So
go.
happy always to have you on this show and with us in the book club, and always happy to have you on Blame Fable, the Blame Fable show, man. Yes, join us the 31st as we do our Comics Curing Cancer stream. Like these fine gentlemen have already said, $25 donation to the American Cancer Society gets you on our wheel, where we'll spin the wheel and you get a chance to win some great prizes. Tacky said a bunch of them. I mean, and shout out to Nick Comic Culture, who did 90% of the donations to that wheel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bobby Delaghetto and Brother Joe from Kansas that also donated to the wheel. And shout out to Nostalgic Addicts, man, who kicked in some awesome figures. We got a Sideshow Collectibles Stormtrooper, $200 figure, bro. You
Nice.
can win for $25, bro. Sideshow Collectible. So yeah, come check us out on the 31st. Again, guys, this has been awesome. Catch us soon next month for episode 4. We'll let you know when. We'll let you know where. Love you guys. Have a good night. Station.
Station.
See y'all.
Peace.